Great to have with us as our halftime guest, Robby Robertson, head coach at Coastal Alabama South. Coach, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, Robert?
And I am doing good. I got to ask you, I mean, I was thinking about it before starting the interview, 50 plus years of a Robertson at the helm at Coastal Alabama South. Of course, at one point it was Faulkner State. But does that ever weigh on your mind? 5 decades.
Yeah, absolutely. It dad obviously my dad was here for 44 years, and then he took over. He retired about 10 years ago, and I took over. So it's something we talked about ever since I can remember. Just me playing here. And then hopefully one day, whenever he retired, me have an opportunity to coach here. Coaching is something that I've always wanted to do my entire life. Just kind of growing up in the house, and watching the joy that he had when he came home every afternoon, every night, and the relationships that he had with the players. And he still has those relationships, even all these years, that obviously he was in it, and then he's been out of it for a few years now. So most of his former players still call and stay in touch and check up on him. And I just thought that was a really neat thing growing up, to see those relationships with him and his players, and something that I wanted to do whenever I kind of grew up and got into the profession. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's 50. I guess it's probably 54, 55 years that one of us has been here and on the sideline. So, it's pretty neat stuff.
I think about the fact that probably with a lot of coaches, they're a player first, and at some point they go, hey, I still want to be around the game, so I'm going to coach. You were around coaching all of your life, so maybe it was a little different for you. You wanted to coach really beyond the playing aspect.
Yeah, I did. It's funny. I'm in a little small group, and one of our icebreakers the other night was, "What would you be if you weren't the occupation that you're in?" And I couldn't think of it. They had to skip me because I had no idea. I guess I just really never thought about doing anything but being into coaching. And again, I think it was going back to my dad. Like, he would come home, and he was happy. He was, even after losses, and he was as competitive as anybody that I've ever known in my whole life. But he was happy to go to work. He got up and enjoyed going to work every day. And I just thought that was a really neat way to live your life, and it's something that I wanted to kind of replicate as I grew older.
Of course, I don't know that I've ever in this conversation mentioned the name Jack Robertson, your dad. I mean, is there competitive juices flowing in this moment where you go, hey, dad, I've got this number of wins now. And when you were at this point, you had this number of wins. I mean, do you compare?
Well, I don't, because I'm so far behind. I mean, he's got, I don't know how many, you probably know more better than I do. He's got 1,000 wins or whatever. So I'm so far behind him. It's really not even a fair race. But I tell you, his juices flow because we played last night, and he came in the office and he picked up my whiteboard and started drawing stuff up and telling me what we should have been doing. So I think he thinks that he should still come out and get a few more wins, and he could still do it. But yeah, so it's a neat, we're able to go home and talk about it whenever we're off the floor a little bit, and he still kind of comes out and watches games and in a few practices when he can. And so he still loves to be around the game for sure.
Which comes first, you asking him for advice or he giving advice?
Well, that's a pretty obvious that he likes to run his mouth, and he I don't even have an opportunity to ask. He just kind of gives his advice, and then he'll tell you a whole lot about that advice and make it go forever and ever and ever. So, but no, he's been great, and really just I say that kiddingly, but whenever he retired 10 years ago, one of the main things he wanted to do is step back and let me run my program and run it the way that I wanted to run it, and not really be, involved with it. So I wish he was out more, really, to be honest with you. He tries to stay away and be a fan and be a dad. And, he's kind of gotten a little bit older now, but the first few years, I wish he would have come out a little bit more and just given us a little bit of advice on, how to continue it going, because he had such an unbelievable program here, and for all those years. So, it's kind of hard to step in and follow that. But it's been fun. It's been a fun 10 years.
Okay, the last dad question. Do you get tired of the dad questions?
I do not. No, I love it. I've kind of gotten on my entire life. I played for him, and then obviously, being in the same profession and with the success that he's had, it's always compared. I'm never going to be the coach that he was, and no matter what I do, I could have a million wins between now and the end of my career, and never be the coach that he was back in the day. So, it was neat watching him go through that and kind of be involved in all those teams. And again, it was the relationships that he formed and he built with those players, and then watching them go off and and do their own thing, and then reach back out to him. That just kind of it kind of solidified what I wanted to do, in my career, and build those relationships with those players.
Do you foresee yourself having a 4-decade career, a 45-year career?
Absolutely not. No. Um, I don't know how he did it that long. And obviously the times have changed, and it's technology is so much better and so much more difficult. The players are so much better. It's a little bit more difficult occupation, but absolutely not. He 44 years is, I'm not real sure anyone will ever do that. Coach for 40 or 50 years anymore. I think that's just kind of especially at the same place. He was at Faulkner / Coastal Alabama for 44 years. So I'm not real sure anyone will ever do. It's kind of going to be a lost thing, I believe. I don't know if anybody will ever do that.
You mentioned that the athletes are different. They're better. They are different in other aspects too. And you as a coach have more knowledge of that certainly than me as a non-coach. The player, how different is the player that's playing the game today than say when you were playing the game?
Well, I would have never been able to play today. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. They're so skilled, they're so big, they're so strong, and you see it in every sport. I'm a big football fan, and you see these kickers, these guys that kick field goals, and now they're kicking it from 65, 70 yards. And I mean, and it just, it's in every sport. They're hitting baseballs further than they've ever hit them before. And basketball guys are, you got 6'9", 6'10", and even bigger guys, and they're playing on the perimeter and handling the ball and shooting threes and running up and down the floor and doing stuff that, whenever I was playing, it was 5'10", 5'11" guys. And now, I mean, it's unbelievable the skill that the bigger players have, and the strength that they have, and how far we've come in the last few years with just skill development and strength development. And it's unbelievable. Our game is, I love basketball, and our game is fun to watch because these guys are so good. And you hear it all the time. You hear that fans talk about NBA players not playing hard and not playing defense. But I really think that they do. It's just that the other player is that much. I mean, it's just, they make it look so easy out there that it looks like they're not playing hard. So it's a really fun time to be involved in the sport, for sure.
Does that mean, since the athlete is developing and changing and getting stronger, faster, quicker, I mean, does that mean that you as a coach change your philosophy or are adapting the way you coach to address this new athlete?
Yeah, I think you have to. Because all players 1 through 5 are so much better and so much more skilled. I think you have to adapt. And you see the NBA going to, everybody shooting a 3-point shot, even the so-called 5 men, and I think that's just kind of trickled down to even to the junior college level and even to the high school level, and in some aspects, and the game is played in open space now, and allowing these guys to be athletes and to be skilled players. And I think you have to adapt, for sure. And for some of us, it's probably a little bit more difficult than others to kind of let go of that rope a little bit. But again, they're so good, you have to give them an opportunity to go make plays kind of on their own.
Where Coastal Alabama South is concerned, what is acceptable for you coming into a season? I mean, are you a coach that sets win-loss records as a goal, or conference titles or region titles? What's an acceptable year for you?
Well, that's kind of a tricky question. We all are competitive and we all like to win, and obviously we want to win conference championships, and we want to hold up the trophy and take the picture at the end and have a chance to go to Hutchinson, Kansas, which is every coach and every team's dream in our league. But I think one of the things that we really try to do here is kind of build the complete person. We want them to learn how to be grown men, and it's probably the first time a lot of these guys are away from home, away from mama a little bit, and we try to mold them, and we kind of hold them accountable whenever they leave the gym and the floor, and make sure they're going to class, and taking care of business off the floor and representing our program, and even representing their last name the correct way whenever they leave the floor and leave the practice gym. And so I think that probably for me is probably more important than wins and losses. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a result business. You have to put your team and try to put your team in position to be successful. And I think that all kind of goes hand in hand. I think if you take care of your business off the floor, I think it kind of takes care of itself on the floor and kind of builds your team in the right way and gives you an opportunity to, possibly win that championship at the end of March and have a chance to go to Hutch.
Is that a difficult process, though, of dealing with developing the athlete as a man and not exclusively as an athlete? I mean, from a coaching perspective, it seems like it's a whole lot more than X's and O's when you're dealing with the mentality of people that come from, a variety of different cultures.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing that's made it difficult in the last few years is the transfer portal. And even though we don't have the transfer portal in junior college, our guys see those guys at the 4-year level moving around all the time and transferring, and the grass is always greener, and an opportunity to go somewhere else if things don't go your way. And so we've really here at Coastal, we've really kind of had a hard time retaining players in the last couple of years, and that's one of the fun things about coaching is taking guys that are maybe under recruited or kind of a diamond in the rough type guy and developing them, and watching them grow over 2 years. And now the way that these young athletes are moving around and kind of trying to test the waters a little bit, it kind of makes that part of it difficult. So yeah, I think it really has gotten difficult in the last few years for sure.
Coach Robby Robertson, head coach there in Coastal Alabama South. Hey, you're continuing the legend. One day they'll be naming something after you there at
Absolutely
Coastal.
not. No, no. We have enough Robertsons on this campus. We don't need any more Robertson, anything on the campus. And all right, we have an unbelievable administration. Dr. Milner's doing an unbelievable job. Coach Daniel Head as the AD is one of the best out there for sure, and that. So we have a great team here. Our campus is beautiful. It gets better every day. We're adding stuff every day, and every time I drive on campus, it seems like we're throwing up another building. And someone that grew up here and probably spent more hours in this gym and on this campus than anywhere else in the world, it's really fun to see, and it's really cool to be a part of this during this time.
And coach, it's always fun to watch the high scoring Coyotes of Coastal Alabama South. Hey, thanks for being our guest at halftime.
Thank you very much, Robert. Thanks for having me.